Achraf Hakimi is a well-known football player making £1 million a month. He got married and his wife recently divorced him and demanded to have half of his money. And it turned out that he didn't actually have any money. 80% of his income and 100% of his assets and his wealth were in his mama's name. So when his wife tried to divorce him and take half of his money, it turned out actually he didn't have anything. And apparently she's now having to give him money because she's got a couple of smaller assets. This story completely broke the internet and everybody is crowning him as a hero.
He might have just completely changed the game.
Smart boy.
I saw that story, and within 10 seconds of just looking at the headline of the story and what had happened, I look at that football player and I know that he is financially illiterate. What he did was not smart, what he did was not cool, it was actually stupid. Selfishly speaking, it was a stupid financial move. And it might have in the short term looked like it's paid off for him really well. But the reason I'm doing this video is because I coach a lot of football players. I coach a lot of people that make similar money to what he's making, Premier League football players. And I just have this horrible feeling that everybody's gonna go, that's a brilliant move. And they're gonna start putting all of their wealth into their parents' name. Let me tell you why it's completely stupid. Number one, if you put all your money in your mom's name because you don't trust your own judgment of who you could potentially marry and you're worried that the person that you choose to marry might come after you and take half your money. So instead you put the money in your mom's name. The same thing could happen to your mom. Your mom. I don't know if his mom's single, married to his dad. I don't know what the story is. If her and the dad split up and the mom remarried, anything could happen, then the money's just as unprotected. So what he's really saying is, he's not being cool by putting his mom's name, he's really admitting that he's a complete idiot who lacks judgment, and he's saying, I don't trust who I'll marry, but mom, I trust your judgment much more. That's not cool, that's stupid, and it's admitting that you're stupid. So that's the first reason that I think it's dumb. Because his mom could get divorced. His mom could marry a complete loony. Especially if his mom's got loads and loads and loads of money, it's putting his mom at risk. It's abdicating the responsibility of wealth rather than being responsible. The second reason is because his mom will probably die a long time before he dies, if things happen the natural way. And when his mom dies, firstly, the money, unless she's got a will where she specifically says all the money is going to go to him, what will happen is the money will be split up amongst him and his siblings. He's giving all his money to his mom because he's so scared of it going to his wife. But actually, it's probably going to get split up amongst his siblings. Now, he might say, I don't mind that, that's okay, because they're my siblings. But here's another thing. He's really worried about giving half his money to his ex-wife. When his mom dies, he won't just split the money with his siblings. His mom will die, he'll have to pay inheritance tax on his own money. So if his mom's got 20 mil and he's really worried him having the 20 million in case his wife tries to take half, well, he's going to end up giving the government half anyway. Inheritance tax is 40%. So if he's got 10 million or 20 million, he's going to have to give almost half of that to the government. So his fear of choosing the wrong partner and having to give half the money to his ex-wife, well, instead he's just going to end up giving half the money to the government. Instead of going from, oh, I've got a chance that she might leave me and take half my money, he's just saying, oh, no, now I'm guaranteeing to give half of it to the government. So it doesn't make any sense at all. So every time I've ever seen this happen, and I coach a lot of football players and I often see a lot of wealthy young people do this. They'll just go, oh, I can't manage the money and I'm not responsible enough and I might marry a lunatic, and they give it to their mom, give it to their dad, as if that's going to protect their situation. But it doesn't. If we look through history, I mean, I've recently been watching the movies at the cinema, you know, the Elvis movie and Whitney Houston and all these famous young people that made tens and tens of millions of pounds, and they all do the same thing. They all just completely delegate their responsibilities to their family, and often they get screwed. I just watched the Whitney Houston movie, and she was doing the same thing. She was just pushing it to her dad. My daddy will look after me, I'll just give it to my dad. Her dad screwed her. So his mom could screw him. His mom has complete power over him now. Now he's like a little boy. Mommy, can I have some pocket money, please? Because he's worried about who he can trust. A lot of these very wealthy young people that make a lot of money through a skill, an absolutely brilliant talent of singing or football playing, they end up absolutely skint and bankrupt because instead of being responsible and learning how to protect themselves and learning properly how to manage money, they just pass it to to their mom, to their dad, and end up giving loads of money to the government on inheritance tax, end up having their own families screw them, or end up having their family end up having a divorce and choosing the wrong spouse, and they lose it anyway. So it's not cool what he did, it's not smart, it shouldn't be applauded. What would be much cooler would be if he had a really strong, solid prenuptial agreement, or if he had an overseas trust set up where he was putting the money over into a trust that was completely protected. Maybe no one even knew about it. Or what would be really cool, which I would applaud, would be if he just took responsibility on not only how to manage his money, but if he took responsibility on how to marry the right person. Now, I'd never blame anybody for divorce. It's sadly something that can happen to anybody. But when I got married, I was dating my wife, Amanda. We had no mutual friends, and I kept my portfolio secret. This was 9 years ago now, before I was well known on YouTube. I kept my portfolio secret. We got to know each other as people, not for what I had. And before I asked her to marry me, I thought I need to tell her at some point about my finances. Rather than telling her about my finances and saying, hey, I've been keeping it secret, this is how rich I am, I said to her, hey, I need to tell you about my finances. She said, yeah. I said, I've actually not been 100% honest. I've got £1 million worth of debt, which was true, because if you added up my mortgages at the time, it was over £1 million. And I sat and waited for her reaction, and she said, you know what? She said, I love you, we can get through this. Maybe I need to get some overtime, some extra hours, but it's okay, thank you for being honest with me. And I thought, I know that she's the one. I then asked her to marry me. She said yes. I told her the other side. I said, I have got £1 million of debt, but I've got a lot more net than debt. And also I've got these properties, which I have got mortgages on, but they also give us X amount of monthly passive income. So, you know, you're gonna get married, and if you don't want, you don't have to work again. And she said, oh, that's good, isn't it? I was like, yeah, it's really good. We got married 9 years ago, I've been happily married, we've got 3 kids, best thing that ever happened to me. So putting your money in your parents' name because you're scared that you can't look after it should not be applauded. What should be applauded is financial responsibility and responsibility of your life, your wealth, your finances, and then look after as many people as you can, help as many people as you can, but be responsible. Hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. See you next time.